What's up guys, AzraelEternity here, and welcome to a tutorial that I decided I wanted to do in order to share with you guys how I like to make my thumbnails, because some of you might be like me and not be very artistically inclined, but I wanted to share sort of my template of how I make thumbnails for my League of Legends videos at least. So what you have before you is an example of my thumbnails, and you can see off to the right here I'm using, I should preface, I'm using GIMP. GIMP is GNU image manipulation program. It's a photo editing or image editing program that is absolutely free. It is 100% free. You can get it at www.gimp.org. Link will be in the description if I remember. And it is a free image editing program that I use in order to create my thumbnails. I actually used to use Sony Vegas for a lot of my thumbnails previously, and I've started switching over and have learned GIMP well enough through Google and YouTube tutorials how to make my thumbnails work on this format as well. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So first, we're going to need a background image, and what I usually use is just the images of character from whatever champion I'm playing. I'll use a background image. Best source for that is just League of Legends website. Under the game info and hit champions will take you to the champion grid, and you can just search for whoever you're looking for, and it will have all of the available skins for that champion. So me personally, I only have the original, the classic skin, which is free, and I have a Feral Warwick skin. So I have all of those already downloaded. So we're going to go ahead and go into GIMP, and we're going to create a new file, and we're going to have it be 1280 by 720. We do not want, we don't really need the background. It doesn't really do anything for us. And then we're going to open as layers, and we're going to do Evelyn. I had a couple of Jungle Evelyn games. Now you will notice that there are off to the side some bars, and very faintly you can notice that there's also some negative space at the bottom. That is because the images from the League of Legends website are a 1215 by 715, I think, 1215 by 715 resolution. Now, since this is not filling in our space, and frankly I don't want to fill it in just with black, like that, because that wouldn't really work for, for example, Lux, who has a very bright sort of background. There's two options you can do. You can either stretch the image and have it just fill in the space, but it'll get a little bit distorted because you're changing the aspect ratio of the picture, or you can do what I do, which is you're simply going to scale the layer. And we're going to change the width to 1280, and you're going to see that's actually going to change the height to 755. So that's 35 pixels more than we need it to be, which means you have a little bit of play going up and down depending on where you want to go. So you'll just take the move tool and you can move it up and down, whatever your preference. I actually want to have more of the moon that's at the top and not really caring about Evelyn's boot. So that is our base background image. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the writing background in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer, and we're going to have this be 120 pixels tall and have it be white. And we're going to guide this all the way down to about, I'd say, I don't know, that's probably a good spot. That's probably a good spot right there, right? No, we'll move it down farther. You saw what I did there, right? Good. Okay, good. So we'll have it be about right there. Now, for this layer, we actually want it to be, I personally rather, would like it to be a little bit transparent. So how we do that is on this layer, you'll just go over to the Layers and Brushes tab, or Toolbox. You can get that over, I can't remember what it is. Anyways, it's the Layers and Brushes. And above the layers, there's a opacity drag bar that you can change the opacity of it, and we're going to have it be about 70%. Doesn't have to be anything exact. Now, we also want to have a new layer that is 1280 by 5 pixels. Oops. I did that wrong. We need it to be 1280 by 5 and be the foreground color. So we want it to be solid black. For the moment, we're going to go ahead and remove the Evelyn so that I can move this guy. I don't know what the command is to make it so that you can only move it up and down. So I'm using the arrow buttons to move this down slowly so that I make sure that it doesn't go off left and right. And we're going to grab our zoom, and we want to make sure that it's bumped right up and not over. Personal preference. And then we are going to duplicate this layer, and on the second layer we're going to move the second one down to the bottom and have, again, it bump right up against that white. And let's go ahead. Not quite what I was trying to do there. Alright. So we now have our white lines, or our white line for our text and our black bumpers on both of those. And have that above our Evelyn picture. We'll go ahead and add a text layer. And we're going to have this fill out. And we're just going to say Evelyn Jungle. I think Evelyn has 2 N's. I need to go check. I'm bad. Yes, Evelyn has two N's. And we're going to bump this up to, I think 70? Yeah, 70 should be good. Alright, so we have our text. And what we're going to do with the text layer is we're going to go up to Layers, and we are going to do Transparency, Alpha to Selection, and then Crop to Selection. So basically what that means is that this layer is now the size of the text. And the reason being is because we want to select that. The reason that we want that is because we are going to have it line up and centered in the middle of this white space. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the layer that has the white, and then we're going to hit the alignment tool, and we're going to touch on the Evelyn Jungle text, and we want it to be relative to the active layer, which is our white. We want it to be centered and centered. Now you'll notice that the outline is still there. That's just because we didn't deselect it. So now Evelyn Jungle is centered amongst the white, which is always good. And then we're going to do a similar thing. Open as layer, League of Legends logo, and this is just personal preference. We are going to have this guy go up to the top, and we would like him relative to the image. We would like that to be centered. Oh no, we don't want it to be. We don't want it to be. We want it about there, and we want it to be centered in the image. So now that is centered. And then the last thing that we're going to do in my example one, I took this admittedly from TechGlow. I don't know what his actual YouTube is. I can look it up really quick. YouTube.com/the-tech-glow, T-E-K glow. He posts, with permission, videos taken from streams of various pro players, and he has a rating system in which he rates games common, rare, epic, and legendary, depending on the number of kills that the player gets, or the player gets during the game. And myself personally, I'm just using common, uncommon, and rare. I don't need 4 different distinctions because, frankly, I'm not that good of a player, and most people probably won't even pay attention to the the rating in the corner. But let's get back to our Evelyn. In order to do that, we're going to create a layer, and we're going to have it be 120 by 120, and we'll go ahead and have it just be black for now. What we are going to do is we're going to rotate it. Pull the rotation over there. We're going to rotate it 45 degrees. Right? Maybe we should have it be a different color. Let's have it be red. Okay. So now that we have that, maybe it'll actually rotate 45 degrees. Why are you misbehaving? Okay, no idea why that was doing that. Okay, so we're going to move this up into the corner, and we're going to zoom in on this area so that our positioning can be precise, that it's in exactly the corner. Perfect. And we are going to add some text. We're just going to be adding in a letter. We're going to have it be white. Okay, and we want this to be a little bit bigger. We'll have this be size 40. Alright, now in order to have this be a little bit more noticeable, we're going to put, like this one has, it has a little border around it. This is fairly simple, but it's not a one-click sort of thing. We're going to go to the layer, we're going to do transparency and alpha to selection again. And we are going to hit edit. No, we want, yes, edit, grow. Nope. Shoot, I'm trying to remember. Select, sorry. Select and grow, and you can have it change size depending on however you want. I just do 5 pixels. So now there's a 5 pixel border around that. We would like a new layer. Oops. I always do that. A new transparent layer. And we're going to go edit. And we're going to fill with background color. And we're going to place it behind the letter. So now we have this nice bold C in the top left corner of our videos. And we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to change that color to a yellow just because why? Oh, that's why. Because I had the thing selected. Anyways. So yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, you can adjust these up and down. If you want to, like I have in here on my original, I have everything pared down. So like, for example, you can take the black lines and the white and have them all be... They're always going to merge together. So, text line. And then this is this is common, and you can even have all of these merge down. So now all of that is a group, all of the text line is a group, and we don't even need that background. Nope, not duplicate, delete. So there you have it. That's essentially what I do for my background images. And then you can just go in and change the text. Depending on what you're doing, you might end up having issues with the text not fitting right or not centering properly. You just need to go back into that layer alpha to selection, transparency alpha to selection, and then crop to selection to make sure that the layer for the text only surrounds the text itself and not doing something like, you know, I have this and I write this in there. If I go to try to move this around and center it, it's going to center off of the whole box, not off of the text, which isn't what we want. We want the text to be centered. So that's why you do that. So I hope you guys found this tutorial interesting. If you have suggestions for things that you would like to see added to it, please leave a comment down below. If you did enjoy it and you think that you're going to end up using this in the future, I highly recommend favoriting it, because while liking it will also save it to a playlist, while on YouTube, favoriting it will kind of be a smaller list of things for you to search through in order to find it. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.